My name is Mariana, and I'm 40 years old. I work as a medical assistant and have been married for 12 years. My husband, John, and I have 2 kids, Patrick, a 3rd grader, and Katie, a 1st grader. John and I met at my hospital, where he would come to make sales. I was the one who handled his orders. At first, we just had small chats, but when we realized we had mutual friends, we got along really well. After having dinner together a few times, we started dating, and 3 years later, we got married. John is smart, a great communicator, and very charming. He always says that sales is his true calling. Honestly, I didn't think he was my type at first, but after talking to him, I fell in love. Now, 15 years later, I still love spending time with him. Even after the kids are asleep, we can talk for hours without noticing the time. Our kids, Patrick and Katie, are lively and love chatting, just like their dad. We're a typical family, and John helps a lot with household chores. He even enjoys cooking dinner. Tonight, he's making steak, something we're all excited about. John wasn't always a good cook. When we first met, he couldn't cook at all, but over the years, he's improved so much that it amazes me. John started cooking because I've been visiting my mom, who's in the hospital, every evening after work. One day, he told me, "I'll handle dinner and take care of the kids. Don't worry about us, go be with your mom." I was so touched I cried. Now, I do as much as I can in the mornings, like making breakfast and doing chores. Before heading to work, John takes care of everything in the evenings, dinner, the kids, and helping with their homework. My mom has been dealing with a chronic illness for the past 3 years, and she's been in and out of the hospital. Lately, her condition hasn't been great, so I visit her every day to stay close to her. I lost my dad in an accident when I was little, so it was just me and my mom growing up. She worked in the same medical office as me and was very smart. She also earned extra income through stock investments and even bought a large apartment for us. Thanks to her hard work, I was able to attend private schools and grow up without financial worries. Whenever she's discharged from the hospital, I beg her to come live with us, but she always says, "I'm fine, Mariana, you worry too much." She's still independent, but I can't help but check on her daily. During the day, my Aunt Michelle helps out. She's single and runs a small restaurant. Aunt Michelle has been like a second mother to me. She cared for me when I was little and gave me a place to cool off when I fought with my mom as a teenager. Aunt Michelle's food is amazing, and her restaurant has had loyal customers since I was a kid. Even now, my family loves eating there. One night, after visiting my mom, I came home late. To my surprise, my mother-in-law was still at our house, relaxing with the kids in the living room. "Mariana, welcome back. Were you visiting your mom at the hospital again? You must be tired after such a long day," said Rachel, my mother-in-law. Her house is only a 5-minute drive from ours. Rachel isn't mean to me, but she can be very stubborn. When she makes a decision, she insists on doing things her way. Usually, when Rachel comes to our house, it's because she wants money. My father-in-law, Craig, still works hard, but Rachel has been asking us for $500 every month to cover her living expenses. Recently, though, she's been coming over more often to ask for extra money, saying she's struggling. Today, she said she came to visit the kids, but I suspected she actually needed money. Once the kids were asleep, Rachel told me, "I'm short on money again this month. Can you give me a little more?" John, my husband, got upset. "Again this month? We've been giving you money every month. My dad is still working, so what are you spending all that money on?" Rachel didn't back down. "Don't be angry," she said. "I'm getting older, and I have hospital bills. You want me to stop going to the hospital? Your dad's salary is going down because of the recession." This argument happens every time, but Rachel always makes an excuse and won't leave until we give her the money. I calmed John down and gave Rachel $200 I had in my wallet. After she took the money, John went to take a bath, so I walked Rachel to the door. "Thank you, Mariana, you're always so helpful," Rachel said. Then she asked, "By the way, how is your mom?" It was the first time Rachel had asked me about my mom, and I wondered why, since she rarely visited her. Still, I replied, "Well, she's still the same. The doctors say she'll be in the hospital for a while." I answered her question, but then Rachel said something that shocked me. "Well, what will happen to your inheritance?" she asked, without any hesitation. I was surprised and replied, "What inheritance? What do you mean?" Rachel explained, "I was just wondering if you've talked to your mom about this. Your mom has a sister, right? It's good to talk about it now, before it's too late. After your mom passes, you wouldn't want problems with your aunt over the inheritance, would you? Her words made me angry, so I answered, "Don't worry, my aunt and I won't have any problems like that." A few weeks later, John came home in a panic after taking the kids to his parents' house for a holiday. "Mariana, my mother bought a mansion near your work," he said. "Near my work? A mansion?" I was shocked. "Yes, it's still under construction," John replied. "Since we lived in the countryside, this mansion stood out. We had often wondered who could afford to live there." "Where did she get that kind of money?" I asked in surprise. "I don't know," I asked her, but she wouldn't answer. "Maybe she's using my dad's retirement money," John said. "Wait a minute, if Rachel is buying a mansion, does that mean we don't need to give her any more money for living expenses?" I asked. "Exactly, if she can afford a mansion, then she should be able to handle her living expenses too," John said, frustrated. We were angry because we had been giving Rachel money, thinking she needed it, but now it seemed like she had plenty of money for a mansion. John and I decided we wouldn't give her any more money, no matter what excuses she made in the future. We learned that Rachel's mortgage for the mansion had been approved and it would be ready in 6 months. She told John she was excited to live there in her old age. 1 month later, my mother passed away. I was shocked, because she seemed healthy when I visited her the day before. It was a blessing in disguise when I got a call at work that my mom was in critical condition. I rushed to the hospital and was with her during her final moments. She passed away shortly after I arrived. "Maybe she was waiting for you, Mariana," Aunt Michelle said as I cried. The wake and funeral took more time and energy than I expected, so I didn't have much time to grieve. After the funeral, I felt completely drained, and my children comforted me. Afterward, I spent the day cleaning my mother's house with Aunt Michelle. As I found old memories, I couldn't help but cry. During this time, John helped with everything, house chores, and taking care of the kids. He was also busy with work, but I was so grateful for his support. Patrick and Katie were so sweet. Patrick told me funny stories from school to cheer me up, and Katie showed me her A+ test result to make me happy. Though I cried a lot after my mom passed away, John, Patrick, Katie, and Aunt Michelle supported me through it all. Then, 3 days after the funeral, I returned home from cleaning up my mom's house and found Rachel at our door again. As soon as I walked in the door, Rachel quickly asked, "When will you get the deposit? The payment is due soon." "Deposit? Payment? What are you talking about?" I asked, confused. "I mean your inheritance. You must have gotten a lot of money, right?" "Inheritance? I gave up my inheritance," I replied. "What? Are you serious?" Rachel exclaimed, her voice loud enough to echo in the house. After my mother passed away, I learned that her inheritance was nearly $2 million. She had told me that she wanted me and my aunt to split it evenly. But my mother often talked about my aunt. She would say things like, "If anything happens to me, please take care of Michelle. I hope Michelle can use my inheritance to fix up her restaurant." "Oh, Mom, don't talk like that," I would reply, trying to lighten the mood. Even the day before she passed away, my mother was worried about my aunt's restaurant. "Are there any customers coming to Michelle's place? She said the air conditioning is broken again, and I'm concerned," my mother said. Aunt Michelle's restaurant had been around for a long time, even before I was born, and it was showing its age. My mother had offered many times to help renovate it, but Aunt Michelle always turned her down. She didn't want to take my mother's money, and she didn't want to stop working while the restaurant was being renovated. Aunt Michelle had been able to keep the restaurant running, but it was getting old, and repairs were becoming more and more expensive. She often mentioned that while her regular customers still came, it was hard to attract new ones, because of the restaurant's worn-down appearance. Since I'd been a regular customer for many years, I wanted Aunt Michelle to keep the restaurant going. She had always put work before herself, even if it meant cutting back on her own living expenses. She lived on the second floor of the restaurant and lived very frugally. I worried about her every time I visited. The cost of ingredients had gone up, but Aunt Michelle never raised her prices for the customers. John and I both work, and while we're not rich, we're not struggling either, even if I had received a large sum of money. I didn't need the inheritance, so I wanted to give it all to Aunt Michelle. At first, Aunt Michelle refused, but when I told her that my mother had been worried about her even the day before she passed away, she agreed to accept it. I talked to John about it, and he was supportive of my decision. We had both enjoyed going to Aunt Michelle's restaurant since we were dating, and we always wished she had more customers. When I told Rachel that I had given up my inheritance, she got angry. "What? Why would you do that without asking me? How am I supposed to pay for my mansion?" she yelled. "Your mansion? I thought you already paid for it," John asked, confused. Rachel replied firmly, "The down payment is due in a week. I've been waiting for your inheritance to come through." I was furious when I heard Rachel say she had been counting on my mother's inheritance to buy the mansion. "What did you just say? Don't insult my mother. Even if we did get the inheritance, why should I use it to pay for your mansion?" I shouted. I had never spoken so firmly to Rachel before, and I was so angry that I started crying. "Of course, you should pay for my mansion. You were so desperate for your mother's inheritance that you spent all your time with her, leaving your own family behind, didn't you?" Rachel retorted. "That's a terrible thing to say. I never thought that. My mother never wanted this. Please leave," I said, upset. I had only been worried about my mother, and I never discussed inheritance with her. All I wanted was for my mother to live as long as possible. Rachel's request for money had nothing to do with my mother's legacy. "Mom, that's just rude," John shouted. "Mariana didn't think like that at all. What did you do for Mariana's mother? You hardly visited her. I'm really disappointed in you. Please leave. We won't be giving you any more money." After John said this firmly, Rachel responded angrily, "You two are horrible children. I'm leaving." And with that, Rachel left our home. Afterward, John apologized to me. "I'm sorry about my mother. I didn't know she was thinking like this. Don't worry about her," he said. Later, John told me that because of Rachel's age, she had agreed to a shorter mortgage term and a higher down payment. From that day on, Rachel contacted John every day, trying to get money from him, but he refused to give her any. Since Rachel kept asking for money, John decided to talk to his father, Jeff, about it. Jeff and Rachel came over to apologize. Jeff didn't know what was going on. He knew Rachel and he were buying the mansion, but he thought they would pay for it with their savings. He had no idea that John and I had been giving Rachel money for living expenses, or that Rachel had been asking for even more. I was surprised when Jeff told me that Rachel had said she would help with the housework while I was visiting my mother in the hospital, but she never did. Jeff explained that he had left money under Rachel's care, but it turned out she hadn't saved nearly as much as he thought. When Jeff asked Rachel about it, she admitted she had made some bad investments and lost a lot of money. Jeff apologized to both John and me. "Mariana, I'm sorry for my wife's behavior. She made a terrible mistake. We will take care of the mansion's payment, so please don't worry about it. We will also make sure she pays back the money you've given her, even if it takes time." "Rachel, apologize to them too," Jeff said. Rachel apologized quietly, unlike before. "I understand. If you've apologized, it's fine," I said, feeling relieved to see my mother-in-law acting more humble. In the end, Rachel couldn't afford the down payment for the mansion. She tried to get a loan, but it was denied. Since Rachel had already planned to move out and didn't have a place to stay, she and Jeff decided to move into a smaller apartment with lower rent. Rachel, who had never worked before, started working part-time to pay us back. I took my family to Aunt Michelle's restaurant for dinner. Aunt Michelle told us that there was land available nearby, and she planned to build a new restaurant there. "I won't renovate my old place, but I'll build a new restaurant so my regular customers can keep coming," she said happily. She let us try some of the new dishes she was planning to serve at the new restaurant. Afterward, Aunt Michelle decided to move into the house where my mother used to live. The new restaurant will be ready in a year, and we can't wait. "Thank you so much. If anything happens to you, I'll be here for you. You can always count on me," Aunt Michelle said seriously. Her cooking is always delicious, just like when I was a child. Katie and Patrick both love it, and they are very happy. I believe my mother is watching over us from heaven as we enjoy Aunt Michelle's food together, happy as a family.